Okay, so yesterday I was debating whether I should go ahead and split this tractor or not. Well, guess what? I think you know what we did. It took us about 7 hours. We kind of knew what we had to do. The manual didn't really explain very much, but took all the sheet metal off. There's parts all over the shop, and we got in there, and I'll show you what we found. I was pretty dead on with my what I suspected the problem was. I'll just show you. So here's the shift. It's the fork for the throwout bearing, or and there's the part yesterday that you could see, and I was kind of pulling on it, and it was going in and out of the hole. Well, there we have the problem. Metal fatigue. So, and you can kind of see, I sprayed a half a can or more of brake cleaner in there yesterday, but you can see this side over here is fairly clean, and this side's very dull black. So it probably slowly broke across all the way over to that last little bit of metal holding there, and then finally gave up. And maybe it was still working a little bit. Anyway, if you pushed on this end here, it probably would have still worked. I don't know, but I ordered the part today. It's $107. I thought about repairing it myself, but I'm just not gonna go through all the trouble of reassembling that whole tractor and then finding out that my weld breaks here or something. And you can't really get in there and weld, so I'll order it, no problem. And we got a lot of cleaning to do. All this stuff's, look at my hands already. That's why I didn't take any video today. My hands were black, totally black. So I'll show you the rest. So deep in here, there was an aluminum piece here. I'll show it to you. It's right here. It had 4 bolts on it, and it covers both the upper and lower shaft. That's the counter shaft for the transmission up top, and the aluminum cover is still on there. And then down below, I pulled off the cover. I'll go show it to you. So there's a little cover. It's got an O-ring on it, so it seals, because the other side of that casting is oil, your hydraulic transmission and hydraulic oil for the loader operation and power steering. Everything runs off that. And this is a dry area, so there's some sort of seal on the other side of this bearing. This is the upper seal. It's the same as this, the one I pulled out. So I noticed it was threaded, so I just put a couple of bolts in and put a pair of vice grips on it and just tugged on it, and it popped right out pretty easily. And the first thing I saw is this. We could see the bearings inside that reservoir when we took the cover off the top. So there's a part of the bearing. This side here is very chewed up. You can see all the score marks, and probably the bearings ran around there for a while and until they popped into the chamber on the other side. Really had nowhere to go on this side. So all the ball bearings are missing, and that's the inner. This is the inner race. There's the outer race. I have to get those out, order a new bearing, and that takes care of the PTO problem. So down here you can see that's the shifter for the 2-speed PTO. You've got 1,000 RPMs and 540 RPMs, and then over here you can see there's a little drive shaft for the steering. Comes out. It goes right through the bell housing, and there's a little gearbox down here. I can show you that. So here's a little gearbox for the steering. And that shaft, we pull that shaft off, it goes right to the front. And then, what else have I got here? So this is the inspection cover. We pulled it off. Everything's nice and clean in there. And up top is the transmission. Well, it's the whole thing's a transmission, but you've got your it's called a moving or the motion, whatever, transmission parts, which is this is the counter shaft, actually this. And then in the middle is your shaft coming right off the motor here. It's not turned, yeah, okay. Lots of parts in there. See down below, that's the PTO shaft. I could tell from the drawing. And it's pretty hard to see, but if you look down in there, you can see parts of that bearing. When we drain the transmission oil, get some light in there. There's a couple of ball bearings in there. I can't see them, but I might be able to see something. Oh yeah, yeah, you can see definitely 2 bearings are right there. So we pulled a bunch out already with a magnet. Oh, and there's another piece right there, the big, yeah. So there's chunks of metal. Should be a pretty simple fix if I can get that in and out or erase out. But it's now, we've been working at this 7-8 hours. I'm done for the day. I'm going home. We ordered a couple of parts and yeah, should be ready to put back together by, I hope, by Tuesday or Wednesday next week. We get the parts in on Tuesday and we'll need a whole day to clean, and you see there's even the lid here, it's just full of grime. So we'll clean everything, especially in the bell housing over here. Spray everything off. There's the clutch. So there's 2 clutches in there. It's probably not something you see very often, but 2 pressure plates and 2 clutches. You see they're facing each other, the 2 pressure plates. There's one here bolted to another, and then inside that again is the you can see way down deep in there is the flywheel, which the ring gear, yeah, way back here. Okay, it's tough to get in here and show you, but yeah, you can see the ring gear back there. You can see a little bit of that ring gear at the very back. So, and there's two types of clutches you can have on this, and this is the better type of clutch. I think it looks like a really much better built than the other one. So I just stuck this little ruler in here, 6 inches deep. That clutch, that whole assembly. Yeah. From the ring gear to this outer edge, just to here, is 6 inches. Goes further, and there's 2 clutches. So one clutch rides on the large spline here, which is PTO, and then the other spline here, the smaller one, is what powers your wheels, or motion. They call it in the book motion clutch. And we're going to get the parts probably by Tuesday next week. We should have, the bearing should be easy to get. I should be able to get it. And if today wasn't Friday evening, I could probably get it any day. But the other part that I showed you in the beginning of the video, the lever, in the book they call it, what they call it in the book? Let me go see. So that's it right there, that dotted line, which is pointing at number 8, clutch lever, yeah. And over here are the types of clutch. There's 3 types. There's a single plate clutch, which we don't have. We have 2 clutches. There's a twin plate clutch, and then there's what they call a dual stage clutch. And we have this dual stage clutch, which seems to me to be the premium model. And the dead giveaway for that is these 2 bolts. They look like brass bolts. The other one has 1 bolt in the center on the fork. Yeah, so there's the 1 bolt right there on the fork, and it's got a stamped metal housing for the pressure plates, and this one has a similar one with 1 clutch. So the hardest part of the whole job was getting the loader off. And we've never had it off before, so that was the tricky part. And there's parts everywhere. I've got sheet metal sitting all over here. These are a bit worn. I'm going to build those up with some, I might grind that flat and weld a piece of metal on there. We had placed a bunch of washers on here because it was floating around there loose. Well, it's loose again. So this is what holds the loader on. It's the first generation of a quick attach loader, which is pretty, it's not very quick. So sheet metal everywhere. Cab, I got it jacked up on a steel post here. So we're able to leave the cab on. The bottom section of the cab unbolts and comes off, so the 2 front corners are out. And the floor has got a few holes in it, but I don't think it's going to be fixed this time around. We'll probably fix it in the spring if we have time. And like I said, there's nothing left of this thing. It's totally stripped down. The lighting is not good, but okay. I didn't want to make a long video, so I hope you enjoyed it. A little update, and maybe next week I'll show it to you when it's all back together. I'll give you more of an update at that point. Thanks for watching.